Terve! Welcome to Kepperis Garage.
Yeah, I remember, and I also know that I did a promise for you to show the complete bike in this episode, but unfortunately there was some variables during the process of doing that. The main reason why I did not want to show the bike just yet, I want it to be like completely working bike and also completely awesome by its outlook. So bear with me this episode, and I hope that it will be the next one.
We will be tuning the carburetor, fixing the engine sound, probably by adjusting the valve clearance, and what else? Yeah, tuning the carburetor, and that was already said, so let's just get into it. You probably remember when we got the engine running, there was this weird sound coming out from the engine. And my guess is that it's related to the cam chain or the valves. Yeah, so let's start with the valves, see if that affects any. If not, we continue with the cam chain tensioner. And when I got this running, I noticed that the idle speed is basically too low, and I guess it's not having enough gas. So I'm gonna take off the carburetor, and there is the needle inside there, so I'm gonna lift the needle one slot up and see how that affects. One interesting thing up here would also be that if there is any oil coming up here, that might also cause some troubles without the oil. Little bit oily, so I guess it's coming up here, the oil. Yep, I'm gonna check these. I have a video about the valve clearance checking, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go and see it. Okay, the valve should be now good. I hope that was the reason for the noise coming out from the engine. So yep, then we gonna change the needle position for the carburetor. Alright, let's pop out the carburetor. Gonna take off the pod filter first. Whoa. We are actually not tight there, so it's getting air. From the wrong holes. It's good to find it out now. But hey, look at this. It's twisting around here. Holy schmagaroli. We have a broken manifold, ladies and gents. Always you find something broken, it's basically 1 month for the delivery of the new part. Let's see. So this is the manifold for the carburetor, and it's basically cracked. How didn't I notice that earlier? Darn seas. That might actually be the reason for the engine not to just run perfectly. There was some sort of like lags with the throttle, but I ignored those because I was too excited to get it running, but I noticed those. And my common sense says now that do not lift the needle until you know it's necessary. And welcome to the future. So it's basically 1 month since the discovery of the cracked manifold. We're gonna replace the manifold and see how that affects on the idle speed. guess it's good fit. Looks like this. Good. That's there. I'm giving it 80% for needle lifting operations and 20% that it's working straight up. Let's see what happens. Ready? So what we hope now is that the engine will start and the crunchy sound will be gone. Twist the fingers now, everybody. You too. Don't laugh. Come on. Tickling sound, no good. Let's try it again. Doesn't sound that great. It's really tickly. So the tickly tongue noise continues. I guess it changed a little bit. It's now more ticking noise than crunchy noise. So I guess the valves are in some sort of roll here. So I'm gonna open the thing again and check the clearances once. But I bring you back whenever that's done. So let's take another test run. Alright folks, the valves are now checked yet again. 3 out of 4 were too tight. I did fine tune those and now we try it again. If it's not running like nicely now, then it has to be the cam chain tensioner, and remember to twist the fingers. Please, don't tick tick tick. Yes. No. Ticking like a time bomb. Then we go in with the chain tensioner. Alright, here we are. Let's take this apart and see what it's been eating. I thought that this would be some sort of spring loaded thingy which just presses the chain guides inside the head in a correct place, but oh, that's the chain or the spring. Let's put it back. Looks like it wants to jump on the face. Have I done something wrong when installing these? So let's take that cap off and see how the adjustment works. There's the screw, and let's twist it a little bit. Sorry if I'm breathing in your ear, I'm just right behind you. Do you know what? Now this just turned into this. What's the
letter combination for the whispering videos. HTTP. No. ASPC. Ah! When I turn this, it goes like that. And whenever I leave the thing alone, it pushes itself against the chain guide. So of course when I took it out of there, it was like completely extended because the spring did push it out. So let's see if I try to put this in there now. Does it like go into bottom, or does it stop somewhere in between the way? So if it stops before the cylinder, I know that there is something it can adjust. But if it just goes straight in, this probably doesn't even touch the chain guide. Let's take the squirrel shield off. And in we go. So if it stops before the cylinder, it's good. And it actually does stop. I'm thinking that could the chain guide be like stuck or something? I really don't want to open the cylinder anymore. Starting to run out of options now with the sound. Or I mean the options which are probably corrected without opening the engine. I did investigate the jigging last night on internet, and I found out every kind of things that may cause the noise on engine, but the final result is the cam chain. I found one video where the noise was like exactly the same. There's a couple of things that are supporting this scenario. One is that the chain tensioner, like we saw, it was only half centimeter before it's completely extended, so it's almost at the end of its adjustment. And the other indicator for the chain is when I was installing the new camshaft, I remember that I was able to twiddle the chain at the top of the cam gear just by lifting it at the top of the gear. So there was lots of play in the chain, so to speak. So the conclusion is cam chain is stretched. I did order a new chain already from Finland, so it should be arriving in next week. From here we have the access into the lower gear of the cam chain, and when we get the chain off from the upper gear or the camshaft, we can twiddle it out from here without removing the head or the cylinder. So out with the old chain, then we compare the new and the old chain and hope that the old chain is stretched. Then we go in with the new chain, and of course whenever the head is off from there, I will actually change the rocker shafts, which I forgot to change during the head rebuild. I will check also that everything looks like unscratched over there. Yep, so that's the plan. I will bring you back whenever I twiddle out the old chain and put in the new chain, and then we will skip into the part where we start testing the engine once again. Alright, welcome back. I removed the valve cover and try to see if I find something suspicious here, but I actually cannot find anything that's suspicious there. Not sure about the chain, how like tight it should be over the gear. I'm not sure about this. Should it be like, I would say it's a little bit loose, on the loose side.
I want it to be loose, of course, because I ordered the new one and hope that it will fix everything, but you tell me, I'm not sure. I guess I will remove the tensioner and take off the side cover. And here we have the chain tensioner. This is all the adjustment we can have for the chain tensioner. So that's not even the half centimeter I was talking about earlier. This is basically the amount of the adjustment we could have there. The spring is more powerful from the start of the adjustment than from the end of it. So if we think that the old spring needs to work on that kind of area, I'm pretty sure it doesn't do anything there. So the conclusion about this would be that the chain guide, which is here, and the chain tensioner is pushing the chain guide like this, and there goes the chain on the other side of the finger or the chain guide, and with the tensioner pushing the chain guide, the chain will go tighter. If that's the adjustment what is left on the chain, it means that the guide is already pushing like maximum against the chain, and the chain won't be tight enough when running. And why that is, has to be because of the chain is stretched. It's funny whenever you want something to be something and then you start creating all the evidence for your wantings. But let's hope. I'm not talking any shit here, right? Makes sense. It's like completely idiotic to create chain tensioner for that kind of travel, so it has to be stretched. And welcome back to inspection round. I was checking the valve springs and noticed that one looks different. These three has like two tight rounds at the top of the spring and there, but this does not have. It's only one. And whenever I was assembling the valves, I remember thinking that, oh, it's just a spring and let's put it somewhere there, and it doesn't matter how to do that. But let's take a look. You should put the tight end against the head, but hey, it's not that awful. We have one correctly installed spring there. I'm not sure how that will affect on the engine, but of course the spring is more tight from the other end, so if there is mismatch on the one side, I can imagine it making some difference there. Can I install the springs without taking off the head? I don't want to take off the head. I have to probably take off the head too. I slept over the ideas I got from the inspection round, and I'm gonna detach the head from the cylinder to get the springs corrected, and I can also inspect the piston and some of the cylinder walls, so I can confirm that the piston is not rambling around there and making the noise. I actually can now confirm also that the oil channels are working because it's full of oil up here, so that's good news. Alright, we are in. I took the head off, everything looks good there, and now I did open the side cover for the clutch. This is something we need to get our hands on. So there is the lower gear for the cam chain, and to get there we need to take out the main drive gear. And how can we get out that whenever the clutch is on our way? So I guess I need to take out the clutch first. So if I want to have the chain out in one piece, I need to have gap here. The clutch is basically disassembled now. By the way, if you want to entertain yourself with the clutch kind of videos, I have done clutch replacement video for this bike, so that's why I also didn't show it to you now. But from this step forward, there is no material in my brains nor in the YouTube made by me. So basically this should come out like so. Yeah. That comes out. Any kind of dropping things there, something hit my hand, but it probably was only the oil. Here we have the inner guts of the thing. Do I actually need to take that off at all? I can lift up the chain guide from here, I guess. Yep. Then I should be able to wiggle out the chain. For certain, that is correct. Here comes the chain. That's there. Haha! Chain. Now I really want to measure the chain, if it's stretched or not. The big book says that it should be below 324.2 millimeters between 21 studs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 21. Then we have the measurement tool. So let's put in the 324.2. What the fuck? That cannot be correct, boys. Listen to me. If the distance exceeds 324.2 millimeters, the chain must be replaced. Well, that's a super stretch there. That would mean... Oh, sorry. I'm looking the manual for the drive chain. I'll be right back. Alright, and now we give it another go. 128.9 millimeters. No, it's 28.8. I have to say that it's barely in the service limit. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Can I turn the engine now? What it does? It does turn the magneto and it does turn the piston. I don't see any kind of problems with that. I just want to check the piston and the cylinder for any kind of damage. Let's do that. I might break it, but hey, then we need to just fix it. So, shout loud if this is something stupid. Yep, down we go. For me, it looks fairly sweet. Yep, so the cylinder walls look pretty alright. Can't see any kind of scratches there or things that does not belong there. I went and dug out the old head. It's the sieged head, which was replaced by the current one. As you can see, it's in fairly horrible condition. But I actually went and noticed that it has completely working manifold for carburetor. And this is the part I waited 1 month to arrive from China. But you never know. Yay, the chain is here! Now we only need to hope that it's shorter than the other one. Is it even the same kind of a chain? It is. And now we hope that we have some sort of difference here.
let's make it so that it's hanging from somewhere. So I'm gonna hang the chain up there from the same place, both chains, and hang it from here to make it better to compare the chains. And I actually can see the difference there. So the left one is the new chain and that's the old chain, and there is like half centimeters of more chain on the old one. Now I know that it's stretched, but I'm not certain that if it's stretched enough to create the ticking noise. But we can change the better chain there and see if it affects. Let's have another test for the chain. Alright, so let's have another test here and see if the chain links are loose also in the like bendy ways. Yeah, it looks like that's the new chain here, that's the old chain. So the links are loose on this way too, so it makes the rattling around much easier when it's loose on that way too. That's basically good news. And for the record, new chain measures from pin to pin 126.6 millimeters. I think that I will soak it in the oil first, and that's the new chain because it's dry. That's the old chain. Let's not mix those because I don't wanna do that all over again. It's like frying the noodles, I guess. We are ready to install the new chain. I know the video is already pretty long, so I won't bore you with that stuff because it's basically the same thing reversed. I just did. I'm gonna bring you back when everything is back together and I'm ready to put the valve cover on there. So I had this idea that I will try to turn the engine with electric drill to like debug the noise if it's still there. Because whenever I was watching the videos about me starting the engine previously, I already heard the ticky noise with the starter. So whenever the starter motor was turning the engine, there was the tick already. So I'm not gonna glue the top cap on there with the sealing material. I just put it there with a couple of screws, then I try to turn the engine and listen to it if it sounds any better. I brought you back because I feel a little bit responsibility here to show you the correct way to install the cam chain at the top of the gear. When I did this first time, I just installed the gear on the shaft, then put it there and lifted the chain at the top of this. But that's not the way to do it, and now when we have the new chain it's also shorter and we cannot do it. So I will try to do it like it should be done. I put in the shaft already and the engine is top dead center. And I know that this pin is supposed to be 1 o'clock, approximately. Now we have the chain there and the shaft there, we go in with the gear. We wiggle in the gear. Yep. So there is the gear now, and as you can see there is lots of play, so we are able to put in the chain too. So now the timing happens here like this. We have the markings for the correct timing, and this came from the old camshaft which has the default markings for the timing. So this is the correct line now and it should align with the head. So this is the way we need to go. So we eyeball it around there, wiggle in the chain. Like this. Now it looks good. You cannot see it there, but trust me, it's good. And now when the chain and the gear is in correct orientation, we turn the camshaft. and match the pin with the hole there. Like so. There's the pin. And now we just turn, just a slight turn there, and it should bump into its place. Like this. So now we have the chain correctly installed. And it's aligned like this. And I'll check the timing. And there's the timing mark. So that arrow points towards this line there. And there has been some discussion about whether the lobe should point up or down in this stage. The pin will tell you the exact orientation for the camshaft. You cannot turn the camshaft 180 degrees around, because then your pin is down here, and the service manual says that the pin should be at the 1 o'clock position. Then we have the washer and the bolt thingies left. Here you need to be really careful not to drop the things inside the lower parts of the engine. Even though I have it open, so it's not that ugly if it goes there. First we go in with the bolt that is visible. Then we can crank the engine a little bit to have the other side there too. I need to put the both bolts in first, then tighten it up, because I cannot place the washer correctly before that. This side, like so. Now I go in with that one. Then we reverse a little bit. And for the record, the valve springs has been flipped upside down wherever was necessary to do so. Time to turn the engine. I bolted the cap there with just a couple of screws, so those will push down the camshaft from the other side, so it holds it still. And let's try to turn the engine and see if there's any ticking sounds coming out from somewhere. Yeah, I will turn it from the other side, from the nut of the magneto, and try to do it gently so it won't turn out from there. Okay, it turns. I don't hear any kind of ticking noise, it's only the flapping coming out from the exhaust. Alright, observants, that everything there is tucked in. There is the hylomar or the gasketing material there, and while it's drying I'm gonna install the chain tensioner. And this is where it all gets a little bit tense, because we probably will see if the chain tensioner has any more adjustment left. So let's see. Drum roll please. So that's the difference. Now I'm scared that can I even put this in there. Could it be too tight? Hope not. If it's too tight, we probably have the wrong chain. I might retire from the motorcycle business if it's wrong chain. It goes in if I push it in. At least it's pretty tight. Darn, I was scared that it won't go in at all.
Now we only need to hope that the engine still turns.
Alright, so the side cover is in there, the cap is already on there. I have set the clearances for the valves and there is new oil in. I thought that I will try the drill trick once again and see if the tick is coming back whenever there is more parts in the engine.
Blip, 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 blip. And that one is intake and exhaust sound. So it will suck air through the intake manifold and exhaust air out of the exhaust. So those sounds needs to be there. It's promising. It's promising. Don't hear any mechanical sound. It's only sucking and blowing air. And that's what it has to do. Gonna put everything else back together and bring you back for test run. You know what it means, right? Oh, god darn, this is exciting. I'm freaking nervous here. All that hard work, I hope it was worth it. Should be enough for a couple of bangs. If you previously crossed some of the fingers, now cross everything. Go and cross your grandmother's fingers too, because now we really need the luck here. Now it's time to test everything. I hope everything is back together like it should be, and we have power, we have gas. Last time we have noise, but we did have the ugly noise. Without further ado, let's just try it now. Turns. Let's put some choke there too. No tick. I hear no tick, guys. I want to believe. But I don't hear anything else too. Oops. Alright, again. I put in some more gasoline. Let's hope that it was the case here. loud! Yahoo! Ladies and gentlemen, it's working! It's not ticking. It's rattling, but that's because of all my things around the bike are not attached, so it's only just things going around there, but the engine sounds like new. Of course there is almost everything new there, but that's probably the reason, but hey, it's working. God bless. Of course we want more of that, right? Rest of the gas in. Well. Yippee yippee yippee. That was the ticking part of it. It's now gone. And I can conclude that it was the loose cam chain. Need to see how it performs on the road and see how the carburetor goes, like with the idle speed when it's hot and stuff like that, but it's now working, and I think that on the next episode you are going to see something that you want to see, and I want to see that too. So we are going to put everything together. Thanks for being interested in this ticking thingy. I will leave the pampers underneath it if it starts to dribble oil. But yep, catch you on the next one.